10-part series of From the Desert to the Promised Land. My name's Michael, and this is Healing Waters of Bethesda channel. So we're getting straight into the Word, and I want you to go into Exodus chapter 13, verses 21 through 22. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night, from before the people. Alright? So, there's a times in the desert times that, how do I say this? You're going to feel like, God, where are you? How come you're not moving? But He is moving. He is leading you. Now, granted, the Israelites were questioning God and murmuring and complaining all that way through to get to the Promised Land. Now, it took them 40 years to get to the Promised Land, and it took me about 40 years to get a house. All right. But sometimes, I've heard someone say to me once, sometimes the Lord's got to lead you into the desert places to get the Egypt out of you. So once you get into your Promised Land, you don't have all of Egypt coming with you. You just have what the Lord has given you. Alright? Now, I feel like I say that again. The Lord's got to lead you into the desert to get the Egypt out of you. So once you get into the Promised Land, you don't bring Egypt with you. Alright? I just felt like that had to be repeated. So, oftentimes, we don't always see how God is leading us. But I remember I was out of work for 10 months. 10 months is the times of testing, okay? And in that 10-month period, I had a dream once where it was like my old boss was like, no, I don't have a job for you. I was like, bummers. And eventually I was working at this one place. And it was a temp agency for about a week. And at the end of this 1 week, the guy was coming up to like, yeah, if you come back Monday, talk to me. I'll see about, you can work. I guess he was going to looking to promote me or something because he saw how good of a worker I was and willing to work and all that stuff. And it was a temp job so it might have been more of a full-time employment. But the problem was, I had to go there early in the morning, and I'm like 3 o'clock, and I didn't get home till probably about 3 o'clock. So that was about 12 hours of my day, because the bus and the temp agency, just to secure a spot first. I didn't even know if I was going to work if I went there. And so, it's like, I'm calculating on spending 12 hours to work 7 hours. That is not very efficient time. And I just felt like that was not what the Lord was really wanting from me. And so, also, I was mentioning about this. It's like, yeah, if I had these steel-toe shoes, I could work at this other place. That'd be like $1 more or something. And like, my friends at this home church I was like going, it's like, oh, yeah, because they know I've been out of work. And so they're like, okay, we'll buy you a pair of toe shoes so you can work get that extra $1. And because they're like, kind of, you got to work, you've been out of work for 10 months. And so the Lord was kind of given to me on this is, you can't wear their shoes. Okay, that kind of doesn't make sense, but you can't wear the shoes. I had to reject the offer because I didn't feel the Lord leading me in that direction. And so oftentimes, man has a direction that they think you should go, but God is the one that's leading you. So you got to be led of the Lord to go where He wants you to go, and that's how you're going to get to the Promised Land. Is you got to partner with God. It's like, God, what do you want me to do? And you got to be led. Now, I remember before I got the job at Domino's delivering pizza, I had a dream of my old boss. I was like, okay. And he basically was driving me to different place where I was going to be working. He said, "Oh, you're going to be working at Dominic's." Well, Dominic's is another grocery store, okay? I'm like, okay, I don't feel like it. I just don't feel like that would be enough pay for what God was wanting me to do. Alright? So, fast forward, I had gotten the job at Domino's. Later, I had gone into the bathroom, and they had this picture there, and the original name was Dominic. Alright? And so I'm like, oh, Lord, okay, cool. So I knew the Lord was leading me. Now, I didn't have that visible pillar of fire, and it was rough, working a lot of times, because at first I hadn't been working for 10 months, and now I'm back into this workflow. And now, I just want to stop one thing, because I do want to talk about the lily, alright? The flower. Before it blossoms, it's got to be buried down deep, deep, deep. And this is something the Lord was kind of showing me, and I was watching a video, and they were kind of giving a word from the Lord about the lily, and about springtime and blossoming, okay? And I was like, okay, I just read the video from K. Nash, and it was about the lily. And I'm basically at work right now, and I'm like, I feel like the Lord's like, no, I want you to look up a dress that you want me to buy for you. I'm like, now, granted, I'm a man. I'm not going to be wearing no dress, but I look it up. I look up a dress. I pick out a dress. It's a nice white dress with sunflowers all over, and I felt like that's a dress, Lord, okay. And so I go home later, I'm looking up this dress, because I was just on my phone, because my boss just happened to be late, so I couldn't actually get into the store, because it was early morning. And lo and behold, the website was Dress Lily. I was like, oh, that's why you wanted me to do that, Lord. Okay, got it. And so he was kind of showing me, it's like, yeah, you are going through this process. That's why it's so tough, because when a flower's got to bloom, it's got to push. And so since it's all the way down deep, it's got to push and push and push and push. And so you really don't see any progress through all that pushing, because it's down so deep. So just because you don't see it, but there is stuff blooming. Remember, I was talking earlier about how that one person had that vision of me with the big carrot that was about the size of me that I pulled out of the ground, There's stuff that's underground that's being worked and tilled. And God's got to guide you to get you to the top of the soil, to get you out. All right? Awesome. And so there's other processes, like God eventually started leading me to get a car loan. Like I before that, I always paid cash for my cars. It was the first time I ever bought a loan to get a car. And why? Because I had to build my credit. God was leading me in this direction to build my credit up. I even had to get a credit card, which I had never done, because I saw how my parents had all this credit card debt, and I was like, I never want to have a credit card. But but the Lord led me to get a credit card, and that helped boost my credit score even up more. And so the Lord's going to start prompting you to do stuff and to guide you in the direction, and you're not going to understand why. All right? But there is a point that I do have to read Proverbs. All right? Proverbs 30, verse, 25. The ant are a people not strong, yet they prepare their meat in the summer. Alright? That's talking about the ant working. Great. Here's the thing about the ant. The ant is only working half of the time of the year, isn't it? It's not working constantly, but it's storing up and it's saving money or saving its food. And what did I have to do? I had to save my money. All right, you're going to have to go with God to figure out some type of plan. God may have to lead you. Maybe the job you're at, and the reason why you can't seem to find a job is because the Lord is trying to get you to a job that you actually need to start saving to get you out of debt. That could be. So, first off, I was working. I had this whole pressure about working. And so what was starting to happen is I would have these dreams about these ants attacking me and biting me and kind of like almost poisoning me. And I was like, what is this? And I eventually learned that I was starting to focus on the job and trying to earn the money to get a place. I wasn't relying on God. And so the job was actually starting to poison me. And I came to that point eventually where I was just so drained, like spiritually, because I just wasn't used to work. I was working 40 hours almost plus. And I was not used to being a delivery driver. So it was new, a whole completely different work environment. But I remember my group of friends at the home church and all that. And I was actually leading a meeting and I wasn't like the best. And I admitted that I'm not good. I feel like I'm being strangled. Like the water is just not flowing through me. And I was honest with them. And they could tell. And they were praying for me. Because I knew what I needed. I needed God more so. Because I was just feeling so drained. But at the same time, I was so overworked and everything else that I was just being strangled by the cares of the world. And so when you're working and trying to work a job, be careful that that job is not strangling you and tapping you out. And I remember praying, as I had prayed, or as they were all praying for me in all this situation, one of the ladies there, it's like she saw my face and it says like, your face is glowing. And I'm like, oh. And so in this process, I'm going to read Exodus chapter 34, 29. All right. And it came to pass when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the testimonies in Moses' hands. When he came down from the mountain, and Moses wist not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with them. So his face was shining, just as my face was shining, and she could see my face shining and glowing. It is important. Just because you feel like God is leading you in that direction and you've got to do this, A, B, C, and D, don't neglect your time with God. And now, there's going to be times in that desert place, God's going to have to bring you aside to refresh you. And that was a refreshing point for me. And so don't neglect spending time with God, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to be there even longer. You're going to be more worn out and more bitter because you're not spending any time with God. And those ants are going to start biting you and poisoning you. And so, yeah, it is very important for God to lead you in that direction in all ways. And it was still some time before I even started looking for a house. I was looking, just not looking. It's complicated, sorry. But you'll hear the rest of it. So, God bless you. Lord, just help them learn to lean on you. And Lord, show them the direction you gotta go, that they gotta go, to whatever direction they gotta go, Lord. I pray in Jesus' mighty name, amen. God bless.